Hi, welcome to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. I am your host, Robin McCoy, and I have a question for the ladies out there. Have you often wanted to travel solo, but were apprehensive to do it? Maybe you were nervous about safety or where to go or where to stay as a traveling single female. Now, I did this when I went to the Camino in Spain back in 2019, and there is some apprehension around it. Now, my guest today, her business focuses on women who want to travel solo. She created an app that helps women find safe places to stay with background checked women. It's called Her Story. And this has been featured on several podcasts, even on Good Morning America. Tess Millhollon is our guest today. She is a new mother of a baby boy and a wife to a first responder. In her free time, Tess enjoys hiking, working out, and spending time with her family. But today we are going to talk about HerHouse and women traveling solo.
As a Texas realtor, Robin McCoy is in the unique position to meet and know so many different people in a wide range of industries. These people are her tribe, and she leverages them not only to help her business, but to help theirs as well. Welcome to Crushing It with Your Tribe, where we share real talk about building business and life relationships. Here is your host, Robin McCoy.
All right, Tess. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to hear about your story.
Yeah, Robin, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here on your podcast.
So you let's just kind of back up just a little bit. So you're in the tech field and you created this app. Is that right?
Yeah, so I actually created the app using no-code software. I don't come from a tech background. I do work inside of fintech in my day job, but yeah, I actually created HerHouse through no-code software. So that's been a really cool avenue for entrepreneurs like me who don't have coding experience.
Yeah, so you've got this great idea, and we'll talk about how you got this great idea in just a second. So you just got this great idea and figured out a way, like you said, that's for somebody that knows it's a good idea, knows it's a good product, doesn't know how to, it's not a coder, if that's the word that they like to be called, a coder, that gave you this opportunity to open it up to the world.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Excellent.
So I'd love to, share how that all went down. So
Yeah, so tell me how you came up with it. Well, first of all, I guess we should tell people exactly what it is. It's called HerHouse. I almost want to call it something else. HerHouse, and it is for women solo travelers.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an app that helps solo women travelers connect with background checked female hosts. So they have safe places to stay and they save money while they're traveling.
And how did this come about? What made this, did you wake up in the middle of the night and go, "Oh my God, I've got this great idea"?
Yeah, well, it actually came from a personal experience. I solo backpacked through Australia in 2017. So I had recently gotten out of college and I got a working holiday visa for Australia. So I got a backpack and I went over there and I was only over there for 6 months. But during that time, I spent a lot of time with locals. I'm also really good at networking and just making friends. So it might have been a little bit easier for me to find locals. But what I found is that they just opened their homes to me. They never expected payment. They wanted to show me their place, where they went to church, where they went to school. And it was such a cool experience to stay with locals. And, when I got back to the States, I thought, man, I had such a cool experience. And I was telling my friends about what I did. And they're like, how did you find these locals? How did you know that they were safe to stay with,
Like, what do you mean you just went and stayed at their house?
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, wait, actually, this isn't easy for other people to do this. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have like an app where you could just get on and search for the location where you're going to be traveling and find other women in the area who would be open to hosting you? And so I kind of sat on that idea for a few years. It just sat in the back of my mind. It was still in my heart and I just didn't know what to do with it. Creating software, it just was so overwhelming to me because I don't come from a software background. I was actually a pre-med student. I was going to go to medical school when I went to college. So yeah, tech is not what my degree is in at all. So eventually in 2021, I found a program that helped essentially teach me how to build an app without coding, because now there's software that exists that you can build apps without code. And so it was a huge learning curve. It was many frustrating days, like days when I was like brought to tears because I was so frustrated.
Against the wall.
It was so hard, but I eventually got my MVP out in October of 2021. And so we've just been going from there.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you had to wait for tech to catch up, right?
Exactly.
The idea happened here, but tech wasn't there yet.
Exactly. Yeah,
like be able for somebody like yourself without that knowledge and experience to be able to do it.
Exactly. Either you have to have the experience for it, or you have to raise funding. Because traditionally building apps a traditional way, hire some overseas team to build it. It's $20,000, $50,000 to build these kinds of apps, and I didn't have anything like that. So, and I don't know how to raise funding. I still haven't done that.
Have any money.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's funny. So, in 2019, I backpacked on the Camino solo in Spain.
Amazing.
And, you stayed in albergues, which were like a vetted, place to stay. So I didn't feel unsafe, but I certainly wasn't going to walk around that Camino in the dark by myself. And, and you don't have people with you. There's a lot that goes on there. So I think this is just a brilliant solution. So tell me how it works. How did you find the first people that would allow strange travelers into their house?
It's, and I'm still working on recruiting hosts currently.
Okay.
But really it was just getting the word out there. I really launched it to a really small group. I created just a Facebook group of women who would be interested in this. I started, networking. I had, a community of women who I knew personally, from my time traveling and stuff. And I was just like, hey, this is what I'm working on. Is this something that you'd be interested in? I'm going to launch it soon. And they're like, yeah. So they were really excited about it. So it started really, really organically. And what I find is hosts kind of spring up from within the community. So like probably 1 out of every 10 women who download the app would be someone who's available to host. So now it's just getting them to complete their background check. So then they'll show up on the map. Yeah.
Interesting, because I was looking at the website and all of those things, and they're all over the world. And I was like, so how do how does all this come? How do you background check them? How do I trust you?
Be the leader you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
How does all this come? How do you background check them? How do I trust you if I'm,
100%. Yep. So I have a third-party provider who handles the background checks, and no one actually has to pay for background checks. I actually take up that tab for the community. Okay. So like hosting is free. Just submit your background check. I have a button for USA citizens and then a button for non-USA citizens. So like there's a couple different ways that they can get background checked, but it's through Sterling Volunteers, and it's for volunteer organizations. that they do background checks for global volunteer organizations. So that's who
So
does
the
them.
traveler doesn't pay. Are the travelers vetted?
Yes,
well?
so everyone, all the hosts and the travelers need to submit a background check in order to, number one, show up on the map inside of the app, or also submit homestay requests or like submit messages inside of the app. It's a safety feature that I have
Sure.
in there so that not just anybody can get on the app and see people's locations
And start being
and
all
see your
weird and sketchy.
profiles. Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a safety feature I have of the background checks. And then when you're wanting to go ahead and start submitting submitting homestay requests, I have a membership. It's really affordable. It's a 1-year membership. Currently at this recording, it's only $149 for the whole year, and that gives you unlimited homestay requests with the community for a full year.
So the host isn't charged any money, or they don't charge the traveler.
Right. Yeah. So it's really more of a similar, more like to couch surfing, where they just bring them into their home and it's more of a friendship. I've had some people be like, oh, you should monetize, the homestays, you should charge them per homestay. And I'm just like, but it's different when it's not charged, because once they charge the traveler, it becomes a business transaction, right?
Yeah.
So when you're just bringing someone into your home, they're a guest, it's more like a friendship, not a business transaction.
And so the homeowner, or the what was your
The host.
The host. Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know where that word went in my head. So the host is really just doing it for the community of it.
Yeah, and I've reached out to them like, do you want me to give gifts to the host? Do you want me to try to pay the host somehow? And the feedback that I keep getting from the community is like, no, we don't need anything from you. Like, just hosting
Wow.
is a joy in itself. Hosting travelers, from all over the place, it's just a joy. And I was like, okay, well, that makes it easier on me, and it can keep the memberships really, really affordable too.
Yeah.
If I don't have to pay anybody. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just, and I'm going to just say this. So all the men out there, this is what women are about, right? Women want to have community. We want to have bonding. We want to have relationships, those sorts of things. And this just does that.
100%. It's a way for them to connect with locals that they never would have before.
Yeah.
And, and what I found, a lot of the women who are really into HerHouse is they're not wanting to do all the touristy things. They're really wanting to immerse themselves in the culture of wherever they go. They really want to become like a local. They don't want to feel like a tourist. So it really calls to those types of women who like that kind of traveling.
So what is expected of a host? Are they expected to entertain? Are they expected to leave the guest alone? What is expected, I guess, of both sides in this relationship?
That's a good question, Robin. So really all I expect from the host is to provide a clean sleeping environment and a clean bathroom for the guest. And whether or not they want to hang out or they have the ability to hang out with the guest is totally up to them. Some of them are working and, like, hey, I can't hang out with you, it's no big deal. But really all I really want to see is like clean sleeping arrangements and clean bathroom for the guest. Yeah.
And that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. So if I'm a traveler and I am looking for, a host to stay with, is there something on the app that will say kind of you're on your own, or I'm happy to socialize? I mean, or if I'm looking, I don't want you to talk to me, but I want, what each side is expecting, I guess.
Yeah. So on the profiles, there's actually a host application that they fill out, and it gives all of those types of
That's awesome.
all those types of, things like I work 9 to 5, or I work remote, or I would love to have, coffee with you, type of things like that. So if you are a host, if you're thinking about hosting for Her House, put as much information in your profile as possible so that, your host, and I also have in the host application, like, what would you really appreciate from your guest? Like, do you want them to take their shoes off? Are you really sensitive to like swearing or alcohol? If there's
Or
if there's anything that you need your guests to know to make it a good stay for both of you, put as much information in your profile as possible.
it's like a
Yeah.
dating app.
Kinda.
It's like a
Connecting
dating app.
them. Yeah.
I met my husband on a dating app. That's exactly what
Exactly.
dating app. If you don't want me to swear, then maybe I shouldn't be in your house. I mean, but that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and I also have a section for like animals and stuff. If you have animals in your home, or maybe you are allergic to animals, like I cannot stay in a home with cats personally. So it's
Yeah.
like if I know you have cats, I'm not gonna request a home stay
Right.
with you. So I think knowing all of that stuff up front makes it for a much more enjoyable time for both parties.
Yeah, I think so too. And where in the world are you? I mean, I looked and there was like kind of all over the place. So share a little bit about what countries or cities here in the United States and all that Her House exists.
Yeah, so we're all over the US and all over the world as well. We're starting to get more ladies in Europe. We have a few great hosts in New Zealand. So if you are going to New Zealand, I know some really great hosts there, and in Australia. So we're starting to get more and more as time goes on. To this Right now, we've had about 2,300 downloads so far. But the thing is that I don't show all of those people. I only show the ones who have submitted a background check. So that really decreases the amount of women that you
Available.
connect with.
Yeah.
I had it available so that you could connect with everybody for a while, but recently I have condensed it to only background checked members, because I think that it just creates a better environment for everyone involved.
Just smoother too, because then everybody already knows where everybody is in the process.
Exactly. Because I had women be like, well, is this a member or not? Like they were all confused.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it only background checked users on the map that you can connect with. So that way you're not concerned that they haven't gotten a background check yet. And it just creates a more of an exclusive community.
So how many actual travel members do you have right now?
I believe a little over 200 so far. Yeah. So we're still fairly young. We're still fairly new. Last year I had actually gotten pregnant, so it kind of like threw me to a loop, and so I haven't done as much with the business within the past few months, just because of what was happening in my personal life. So I'm really excited to get back out there and be on your podcast and just try to get the name out there more.
I think it's brilliant. And now you've also got talking about even home sitting and home swapping. So let's kind of venture down that pathway a little bit.
Yes. So I added home sitting and home swapping inside of the Her House app as well. So it would be a great option for your homeowners who are listening to the podcast. As a paid member, you can apply to swap homes with someone for a period of time. For say example, if someone is in Australia and they want to have a white Christmas, they could swap homes with someone in Colorado or Montana. And then the people in Montana or Colorado can go stay in Australia for free for over Christmas type of thing. So it gives them both availability to have free accommodation in another country or another city. Yeah, for an extended period of time. So it's a really cool option. is the home swapping. And then the home sitting is also a great availability for your homeowners who want a background checked sitter to come and stay at their home, to take care of their plants or their animals. And then it gives the traveler a free place to stay as well. So it's really a win-win for everyone involved.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about it nowadays, everybody's concerned. I mean, you don't want to leave your house or don't want people to know, your house is empty. You're on vacation
Mhm.
and you're on a cruise ship and you're taking pictures, and then somebody goes, "Oh," and you can figure anything out about where somebody lives in about 2
Unfortunately, yeah.
seconds anymore. Yeah, there's no secrets. There's, we're gonna have that illusion. But knowing that somebody that is background checked, that is, is going to be responsible, it's just staying in the house so the lights come on at night.
Yep. Yep. It's a great option for those homeowners. And then they don't have to pay for
Yeah.
that pet sitter or that, home sitter. They
Well,
can,
just the whole
yeah.
cost of the house swapping, like you said, like we're going to Europe and you want to come to Dallas and we're going to Paris, and let's just, does it just, I mean, I guess you figure that piece out, right? Somebody says, I want to swap with somebody in Paris, and somebody else says, well, I want to swap with somebody in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And then
Yep.
you just kind of match. Then you just kind of match them up?
Yeah, you can. So I have a section inside of the app where you can post your home for a home like sitting opportunity, like if you're going to be leaving for these dates. And again, this is only seen by the members, right?
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
like your home is like no one else can see that
on Instagram or something. That says,
exactly, right? Like it needs to be more of a secure environment. And that's why I have these visibility conditions around the background checks and the paid memberships, right? It's for safety reasons a lot of times. And so you can post your home like, hey, we're going to be leaving. That actually happened. It wasn't last summer, but the summer before that, one of our members in Denmark, she was going on holidays. So she wasn't going to be home for like 6 weeks. So she posted it inside. I popped it in the newsletter. And one of our members from Australia went and stayed at her place in Denmark for 6 weeks. So she got 6 weeks of free accommodation in Denmark.
And that's huge. I mean, we
Oh
all
my
know,
gosh.
You start looking at vacations and traveling, and you go, okay, here's the flight. And you expect the flight to be the most expensive thing, but it's not. It's that hotel room.
Yep.
And even
The
Airbnbs
accommodation.
have gotten very expensive. And
Yep.
so the fact that it's a free accommodation is amazing.
Huge. Oh my gosh. Yeah. When I was adding up, when you're traveling, the things that are going to eat through your budget are your accommodation and food costs, like apart from like the flights and stuff. So even if, say, I was in Australia and I was staying in hostels are one of the cheapest ways to travel, throughout the world. Because in Australia, they were about like 30 USD a night, but that still adds up. That's like close to $1,000 every single month that you're paying for accommodation. And so it's just going to eat through your budget. The accommodation is. So if you can find opportunities like HerHouse to stay with people, to stay in people's homes, like for free, you're really going to be able to stretch your dollar farther. And then
you can go experience the country more.
Exactly. Like
you can go on
take
the
surfing
actual
lessons.
adventures.
Yeah. Take the surfing lessons, go skydiving, go to the great restaurants, because you're not spending all of your money on accommodation while you're traveling. Yep.
Now is it only a solo traveler, or could two women that are going together, could that be an option as well? Hi, I'm Robin McCoy. a Texas realtor for over 15 years. As an adult child of a senior needing to make a living change, I know firsthand the stress that can be involved in guiding our seniors and their families through the challenging decisions surrounding senior living. From adapting your current home for aging in place to finding the right senior community, I provide comprehensive support tailored to your unique needs. By offering these specialized services, I aim to make the transition to senior living as smooth as possible, providing you and your family with peace of mind and confidence in every decision. For more information, go to robinmccoysenior.com and let me take some of the stress of senior moves away. Relax, I've got this. Is it only a solo traveler, or could two women that are going together, could that be an option as well to be a guest?
That's a good question. So really, I designed it for women who are traveling alone.
Okay.
If you are traveling with another girlfriend, you can reach out to the host and be like, hey, like, I'm traveling with a girlfriend. Like, would you have accommodation? Like, would you be available to host both of us? And that's really up to the discretion of the host. I give them like total power and control. Like, it's totally voluntary. And if they don't feel comfortable, they can decline hosting at any time. So, if you are traveling with a girlfriend, just ask the host, see what they say.
So do you have an extra room?
Yeah.
Well, what kind of things have we not touched on? What did I miss? What questions did I forget to ask you about HerHouse?
I think we really covered a lot of it. I just think that something like this is really needed in the world. And I just know from my personal experience how life-changing it is to travel solo as a woman. I got so much, I became so much more confident as a person. I can make my own decisions so much more. I really found who I was so much deeper while I was traveling abroad. And for me, like, I want to help more women have those types of experiences. And for me,
empowering.
It was even,
very empowering.
It was empowering. And it was really, for me, it was even like a spiritual experience. I grew really close to God while I was on that time, because you're just alone. So like for me, it was such a spiritual experience too. So, if being scared about being lonely or scared for your safety or nervous about the costs of it are holding you back from solo traveling, like I don't want that to hold women back from solo traveling. That's why I'm wanting to grow this community so that there's multiple background checked hosts in every city all over the world. Like, that's my vision. And I know it will happen. It just takes time.
People just have to know about it.
Yeah, it just takes time to get it out there. And so so that's why I'm really excited that I'm here and that you wanted to help me share the HerHouse love with everyone.
I love it. When, as I mentioned before we started recording, we have a mutual friend that came to me and said, you need to have Tess on I think it'd be a really good, good guest for your podcast. And when I looked up HerHouse, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love this idea.
Thank you.
Because when I went to Spain, everybody, and I was not a young person. I mean, it was only 4 years ago. I'm 61 now. So it was in my late 50s when I did this. And everybody's like, you're going by yourself? You're going alone? And I'm like, I am, because I'm going to figure out what I'm made of. Right. This is empowering me for me. And I was terrified. I mean, I'd never.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I travel within the United States and for work, and I moved a lot and all of that. But I'd never been to Europe, much less got on an airplane to go across the ocean to a place I don't speak the language. And then I'm going to walk a whole bunch of kilometers all by myself.
Amazing.
But doing that and traveling alone, I think solo traveling is a life requirement for women at some point, whether you're going to Chicago or you're going to Madrid or you're going to New Zealand, whatever you're doing. I just think it's just a huge, like you said, confidence, able to make decisions.
It totally does. It will 100% change your life. And that you reminded me another thing, Robin. So I originally designed Her House for like women in their 20s, right? Because that's who I was. I had just gotten out of college, and I spent a lot of time with other backpackers, and there's a lot of people, a lot of women in their 20s who are traveling, super common, especially like all throughout Europe and Australia, very common to see that. But what I found since creating Her House is that there's actually more of a demographic 50s plus who are in Her House. I have a huge demographic of women, that are your age, like, 50s plus who are wanting to travel. And they've been through something. They've been through a divorce. They've gone through some kind of loss. Maybe I have tons of widows in my community. They're at this place in their life where they want to travel, they want adventure, but they don't have anyone to go with them.
Yeah.
And so I want to help give them that community.
I love that. I just got all the feels.
Yeah, right. I know. And like my heart just goes out to all these women. And I'm just like, I want them to go, their life is not over. Like they
No,
need to continue experiencing life. And if I can help create that connection to help them get out there, like change their life.
I have a
So
friend
good.
that is actually, this is her first right now, and she's from Vegas. She went to Santa Barbara, and this is the first time, and she is 50-ish, 50, or early 50s. It's the first time she's ever gone anywhere alone.
Yep.
And traveled alone.
Yep.
And she goes, I'm doing it this summer. Or this year. That's my thing. And I'm going to make sure she hears about this because Her House is probably exactly what she would be looking for and what she would, and it's true. I think I've noticed a difference between the people in their 20s and like early 30s today versus when I was in my 20s and early 30s. I wanted to do things, but we just didn't really do that, right? It wasn't expected of us. It was dangerous. It was all the things. Now that we're 50 plus, we're like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
I'm going to go do that.
In their 20s now, they're traveling and having these experiences in their 20s and 30s where we didn't do that. And so I think, so now you're right. You've got these two generations where the 20 somethings are doing it anyway. And the 50 somethings really want to start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a place that they can all kind of come together.
100%. And I have a lot of my hosts, a lot of the homeowners and hosts are women, 50s plus, so you can connect with other women who are maybe in your age group. I've recently added an age range in there so that you can see the age range of the user, of the member, so that hopefully you can find some women that you connect with. And it really also gives you a reason to go somewhere. Like, oh, I found a host in Vancouver. It would be so cool to go to Vancouver. And so you just send her a homestay request and be like, hey, I'd like to come out this fall sometime. Like, would you be open to hosting me? Like, when would you be available? And then you just start that conversation.
Because then you go to those places that you've always wanted to go, but just like you said, I love that. Vancouver in the fall is beautiful. I've been there. It's gorgeous. Everybody should go.
Exactly. And it not only gives you a reason to go, it gives you a friend. It gives you a lot of times when I've stayed with hosts, they introduce me to their friend group. You have instant community, instant friend. It's incredible. Like, it's the coolest experience. Like last spring, I stayed with a Her House host in Puerto Rico. I went there for a conference, and I had more fun with my host than at the conference because we just like went out and we got drinks, and she's like, oh, I have to take you to this place. And, oh, we're going to play volleyball on the beach. Come join us. It's just like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And, and it was like, it was so cool.
Well, I think you had a brilliant idea, and you just let it marinate for a few years. And here we are in a time when I think this is really needed just for our own mental well-being, our own mental health, to be able to go and do things and be empowered to do things and not letting the cost of a hotel room keep you from doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be scared. And it's going to be scary. Like whenever you do, even if you do have a host, it's going to be scary, but knowing that you have a host and you don't have to pay thousands of dollars, for a few nights, depending on where you are, it can get really expensive. So, having that HerHouse host, I think is going to be a really big game changer. So that's why, I'm really focused on host recruitment, so if any of you listeners would like to host, background checked solo women travelers who are, just wanting to travel and to meet you and see your home and location, then please sign up to be a host. Like, it doesn't cost anything to be a host. I actually pay for your background check. So you don't have to pay anything to host. However, if you do want to be a traveling member, I am offering the host to get their first year for only $25, just as a thank you for hosting. If you also wanted to travel, you can get a membership too.
So if you were doing both, nice.
Yeah, you can get one for $25. And this is going to go up in the future. So Sure. It's like, just lock that in today. And really, I'm so excited to have more hosts. That's really what we're needing right now in the community.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably the hardest bucket to fill.
It is. Yeah, it's challenging. But I really have the vision, and the women who want to host see the vision too. They see how important it is. And a lot of them have been solo travelers too. So they know how helpful it is to have a host. And I'll tell you a really quick story. When I first went to Australia, I had a host. I had a friend who lived outside of Melbourne, and I reached out to her, like literally exactly what you would do with HerHouse. I reached out and been like, "Hey, Sally, I'm coming to Australia, early part of January. Would you have availability to host me at all?" And she was like, "Absolutely." And so she came and picked me up from the airport, and she was so excited. And, she took me to all these places, and I ended up staying with her and her family for like 2 weeks. It was kind of extensive, but nice. Having Sally pick me up from the airport on the other side of the world, it made going overseas so much less scary. Like, it was already terrifying, but having her there made it so much better.
Yeah, I mean, and I just think it's a brilliant idea, and I am so excited to now know about this because I'm going to spread the word far and wide at this point. So,
well, I appreciate it. I'm super excited to get it out there because that's what we're really needing. Is just
that's what we're doing right now. We are spreading the word. So tell people how they can find you or find the app, find the website, all those sorts of things. What do we need to do?
Yeah, so the HerHouse app is available in the Google and Apple Play stores. So just search for HerHouse. It's all one word, and you can download it there. And you can also learn more about HerHouse and check it all out at herhouse.co, herhouse.co, and all of the Instagram and TikTok. It's all at herhouse.co. So herhouse.co is all of the social media accounts as well.
Handles, although whatever we're calling those these days.
I made them hopefully super simple for people to find me.
Simple and all the same. That's the key right there.
Yep.
Super simple and all the same. All right. Well, Tess, thank you so much. I have just loved hearing about this. And I love the idea that you had this idea based on your own experience. And then you've just been able to have this vision to see it through.
Yeah. Well, I thank you. Yeah, it was, I had this vision for a long time, and it literally just sat in the back of my mind, and it just gnawed at me, and I couldn't let it go. I prayed so many times for God to release this from me because I was so overwhelmed and scared, and I didn't want to do it, but it's still in my heart, and so I have to keep going.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. So, all right. Well, thanks again, and we'll see how those downloads increase and find you more hosts.
Yes.
Because I've got places to go.
Woo, yes, we all do, right? Well, thank you again, Robin. I really appreciate your time and having me on today.
Absolutely. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't miss an episode. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for Crushing It with Your Tribe with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests and to access your free resources and information discussed on this episode. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we will see you next time on Crushing It with Your Tribe with Robin McCoy.